Hey beauties, good evening to you beautiful people. So beauties, watching the news, the first thing I saw that came on struck my attention. It got my attention, I should say rather. Two white women came and apologized to the Jamaican people. These are the descendants of the UK and I soon tell you the other country, the UK and Ireland's descendants of the slave masters, slave traders, and they're apologizing for the damaging, debilitating, and to the ultimate demise in terms of death of the black community. And I'm a firm believer in apology. I've often preached that if many people were to apologize to people, that a lot of healing would have taken place, a lot of relationships would have been restored. But unfortunately, many people have taken on the very same trait as a devil, where pride becomes the order of the day. The ego is a strong man in the individual, and the cowardice is also a role it plays. So people are coward, proud, arrogant, embarrassed, ashamed. So they neglect to apologize. They feel that the apology won't do anything. But sometimes, in many cases, it often will. So, until we reach to that point where we put down pride, arrogance, humiliation, embarrassment, cowardice, then we will understand the true meaning of love. Well, part and parcel. However, I want those two women to understand that in Jamaica, this may sound a little bit discourteous, maybe disrespectful, but believe me, it is not. But sorry can buy soja lorry. In other words, in this case, sorry cannot really help because of the decades of effect that that slavery has had until this day. To this day, black people cannot live unified. They cannot live united. In general, I'm talking about 1% of the people who own wealth lies among the black people. So just 1% of the black people own wealth. And we're talking true wealth, not talking riches, a band that has a little change. Because we're so divided. We're conquered, we were divided and conquered. We don't support each other. There are 6 areas that I want you to understand what slavery has done. And it's going to take decades upon decades upon decades before this can be erased out of the systemic slavery that has not been emancipated. We are not independent in a sense, in a strong sense from it. So one, you have the physical and psychological trauma. So enslaved people endured brutal physical labor, harsh living conditions, and severe punishment. The constant threat of violence, family separations, and dehumanization caused long-lasting psychological trauma to this day, which I prefaced. Second, you have family and social disruption. Families were torn apart as members were sold to different owners, leading to a loss of familial bonds and heritage, that kinship. The social fabric of African communities, were severely disrupted, with generations growing up without the knowledge of their ancestry and cultural roots. To this day, some of us, we come from a lot of single parent homes. Even if we know who our fathers are or who our father is, they don't really have that interest because that bond was not created. I can tell you from personal experience. Economic exploitation and disadvantage. Enslaved people were denied the fruits of their labor. They were exploited and little pay to none, which contributed to the economic wealth of slave owners and broader economy, while leaving black people impoverished to this very day. The poorest of all, if we're going to categorize ethnic groups and ethnic backgrounds or race. The legacy of slavery contributed to the systemic economic disparities that persist to this day. Cultural suppression and loss. African cultural practices, languages, and religions were often suppressed or destroyed. Enslaved people were forced to adapt to the customs and languages of their oppressors, leading to a loss of cultural identity, which is true. Legal and social discrimination. Even after emancipation, Black people faced legal discrimination and were subjected to Jim Crow laws, segregation, and other forms of institutional racism, subjection, inferiority. I'm putting in some of the words. Social stigmatization and racial prejudice continued to marginalize black people, limiting their opportunities and access to resources. As I said, the poorest of all the ethnic groups or races, if you want to look at things outside of the human race. Long-term societal impact. The effects of slavery has had lasting impacts on social structures, contributed to ongoing racial inequalities in education, healthcare, housing, criminal justice system, the economy, as you know, in terms of being the owners of the means of production. The psychological scars and social disadvantages passed down through generations have contributed to this day to the effect of the black community. So understanding these impacts is crucial to addressing the enduring legacies of slavery and working towards racial justice and equality. So my dear ladies, the descendants of the slave masters, slave owners, slave traders, apology cannot fix it. I have no problem, but it's like a 5% in trying to attain 100%. You're just 5% in with the apology, 5% in which really has not made a dent in the 100% that needs the dent to be made. Slavery was horrific. It was like aliens invading Earth and taking out humans. I don't know how else to put it to you for you to understand. And when I say you, I don't mean plural. I don't mean you specifically, the two women. We're talking about the white supremacists. We're talking about Bakra Master. We're talking about the owners of the means of production who decided to this day that they're going to subjugate the black community. One of the quickest ways is to turn them to feminize. I know there's no such word, the men, masculinize the women, turn people from one gender to the next, one sex to the next, keep you impoverished. If you even have money, you have to spend it the way you said it ought to be spent, and still keep it where 1% of the black race will be wealthy. It can't go 2, it can't go 3, it can't go 4, and so on. To this day, black people hate black people because of what slavery hate was preached and promulgated to them. And they could not show the hate to their master, so they internalized and imploded. So to this day, most of my trials and tribulations and troubles come from black people. Yes, I'm predominantly around them, but even if you go abroad and you experience other people, you don't necessarily feel that level of hate. Black people to this day, because that is all they know. So apology can't do it, my darling. Sometimes somebody may take somebody's life, they may rape them and then take their lives, and they get let go, and you say, how can they make recompense? You have to, they say money can't buy happiness, but everybody wants to find out for themselves. They say money is not important, but the next person says money is like oxygen. And when I say money, I'm talking about investing in the country. You can't take back what took place, the horrific events, the malevolent, sinister, evil, wicked events that took place, but you can make it right. More than just sorry. Give the Jamaican people money, invest in the country. See, some of the schools, I didn't realize they were built poorly because they were blown down, many of them. Maybe in the rural areas, especially St. Elizabeth, they need to be rebuilt. A lot of the healthcare centers, people don't have any money. TikTok actually made me realize that. You see how many people begging, it's now become the order of the day. The Bible says, I have not seen the righteous forsaken nor his seed begging bread. So I'm wondering, is it that they don't fall among the righteous? I don't, I don't understand. But people are finding it difficult, that we need investing and investment in our country. So sorry alone can't do. It takes cash to care. And when I say cash, raw cash, and investing, as I said, helping in the health sector, the education sector, and putting some monies in the people's pockets. People are broke. So, but sorry, just 5% in, if so much. But thank you for the sorry. Thank you for the apology. Guys, follow me on TikTok, subscribe to my YouTube channel, share this message.